I'm Mike Hebert, owner of Cantex Roofing and Construction. Every day is game day, and we'll get it right when it comes to your roofing, construction, windows, and mirrors. Call Cantex Roofing and Construction today. Together, we are one serving you.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, and the Double T 97.3 mobile app, brought to you by Happy State Bank. I'm Clint. He's Gus, DJ Puddin behind the glass, taking care of us. Kyler, how are you today?
Doing good, Clint. I'm blessed. It's another day.
That's good. That's good. High school fan zone tonight. Lubbock High, Friendship, Lubbock Cooper. In that order, 6 to 7:30 with Randy Rosetta here in the First United Bank studio. No longer the birthday boy, Randy Rosetta. Unless he's a birthday month kind of guy.
Yeah, it's come and gone.
It's my birthday week.
Yeah, it could be that.
Get over it. That's funny. We got this from South Texas Ambassador Preston.
ALCS Game 3 tonight as well. Did you say that?
I did not. Yeah,
got that
tonight.
after Rosetta. Actually, not after Rosetta.
Nope, it's here in Double T 97.3.
How about that? Toronto, Seattle.
I've seen this question a couple of times, and I'll answer it to the best of my ability of how I understand it.
Okay.
South Texas Ambassador Preston asked, I'm confused and correct me if I'm wrong, but only one warning was issued during the game. Isn't the league policy 2 warnings then penalties? So Kansas was gifted 30 yards by whining of Leipold. So the original, if we go back like to the very start of the season,
this was the 15-1 policy vote.
Yeah, what Gio had said when he laid out the process for throwing tortillas, said, hey, we're going to throw out the first set of tortillas that's encouraged for the kick, and then we're going to play what we've seen there on the board where it's, hey, don't throw stuff on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second time, it was going to be the video that we've seen with Joey Maguire saying, don't throw stuff on the field. And then the wording was it's up to the ref's discretion if they throw a 15-yard penalty or not. In that scenario that he laid out, not once did they have to, go over the mic and say this is the second warning, because it was just leaving it into the stadium, the stadium in the program's hands. And as far as I remember, both of those things were played. But I've seen that question a lot. That is how I understand it. Is that, especially when you put in it's up to the ref's discretion. But I think with your specific ruling for this specific tradition that they were going after and have had the 15-1 voting, that you don't have to have the usual ref stopping the game and saying this is the second warning. But again, that's just my understanding of it.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, in the stadium it was hard for me to. There were times that I could hear Casey. I mean, it was noisy, and it's a good problem.
Yeah,
but
the crowd was
kind of
awesome,
bonkers. Yeah, good, and that I could hear him. Oh, all right, Casey's. This is the statement. This is the Blues, and the official statement.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed on the video board that up there, but I can't sit here. I couldn't have sit here on Sunday and said, when I was seeing the thing on the board, was I also hearing Casey? How I'm saying Casey, the PA voice there at the stadium, but yeah, they're because the referee obviously getting on the mic draws your attention.
Yeah,
that's a different level. We're sort of, I don't know, maybe my eyes are just sort of trained to look for him and listen to him, hear what's going on. But yeah, so is it all of that to say? Is it possible up there on row 52 that I missed a warning? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is on row 52? Am I the target audience? Probably not.
Probably not.
I guess if I,
For the last time, Dr. Mike Gustafson, stop throwing.
I don't know if I could have done that at peak arm strength back in my playing days. That's a long.
What did we call you yesterday? Big damage? Yeah.
Well, the phrase
we
was
all.
big damage. You then.
No, everybody. You
Gus.
said in a very long 30-minute story about how you earned the name Big Damage in your playing career. That's cool. I like it.
I spent 30 minutes telling you how I was not that.
Leipold eats potato salad with raisins in it. Oh, gross. Is that a real thing, or is that just a funny put down?
That's
Because if
very
that's a
funny.
real thing, that's disgusting.
I went to Rudy's last night and did have some potato salad.
They have raisins in it.
No,
That's good.
I'm saying I'm a fan of their product there. United Supermarkets also has a nice, I think it's kind of you just buy on the shelf, but it's theirs, maybe through the deli.
Mm-hmm.
Got like a mustard potato salad. Oh my gosh, Clint, stop.
Potato salad usually isn't. It's grown on me. I used to hate it. That was one of those things as a kid. I wouldn't even try it.
Does it have the word salad in it?
How dare you? No, I was a big noodle salad guy. That's why. Wanted a nice noodle salad if I was going to have something like that. A starchy salad. Coleslaw's grown on me too, though.
Remember Dickens being a big corn casserole guy. He used to use that as kind of a way to define what Midwestern nerdiness. Isn't that right?
Big corn casserole guy.
We're talking about Nebraska, and he's like, "Hey, you mean people like Eli like corn casserole?" Like, yeah.
Have you ever had a corn bake though? Like for real?
I don't know. I don't know.
Corn bake.
Seems delightful. I like bakes and I like corn. So
Yeah. Do you like cornbread?
yeah,
Because this is like cornbread on steroids.
there we go.
Some cheese in
I
there.
like steroids.
You like steroids?
Perfect, yes.
That's how you became Big Damage.
BD,
You weren't
yes,
Big Damage
yes.
early on in your career.
Yes. Just think if I hadn't.
But
have
for
taken
some
it,
reason, when your
might
neck-
not have been able to get one out of the infield.
And for some reason, when your neck turned into a watermelon overnight, you started hitting them over the wall.
Yes. My head grew about 4 sizes at age 22.
One of them.
All 7 home runs, Clint. Look out, Southwest Conference.
Even if Morton is healthy for Saturday, is it worth sitting him and letting him get to as close to 100%?
I don't know about that. I would think the decision point here is there's some harm's way involved in it, for sure, right? And I don't know the nature of the injury enough to know if he's gonna aggravate it or he's this close to tearing something, and being done for the year. I don't think it's the latter. I think it has to do with is Behren Morton at whatever percent diminished by injury better than Hammond. And again, I said this yesterday. It wouldn't surprise me one bit to see Hammond start that game and Barron's over there in his uniform. And if Hammond's stinking it up and throwing interceptions or whatever, that Behren comes out there, taped up, maybe not as mobile as he was, and saves the day or whatever. Saves the day is my hope. Hopefully it's not needed, but you get what I'm saying. That he may go into the game as the true second-string quarterback.
We'll circle back to this after we go back in time, because I think that this is where you look at like the boat they're in, and I think that they're having to play, they're a hand that I don't think that they necessarily want to, and the good news is you're not in that same boat. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3. Thank you for joining us. Clint Scott and Dr. Mike Gustafson, Kyler Brown behind the glass taking care of us. We are live from the First United Bank studio until 6 o'clock. That time over on 100.7 The Score. It is the high school fan zone. Randy Rosetta will be with coaches from Lubbock High, Friendship, and Lubbock Cooper here in the same studio that we are talking to you from now. D-Rock said Lance Leipold 100% sits down to pee. Shelly said noodle salad? Like pasta salad? What is that? Yes, pasta salad. I like them both too. There's the Italian dressing one that has the green, white, and orange noodles for some reason, and it's the only thing I've ever had with those twirly green, orange, and white noodles. And there's also And there's like a white sauce one too. I usually find it either at like barbecues or for some reason at Asian buffets in the salad section, cold section. I don't know why it's there, but I get it.
Okay.
Scott said potato salad should be the next food group. If you add bacon bits, it contains all the other lesser food groups.
I like it.
I've had a warm potato salad before,
Okay.
which is basically just a casserole. It's just a casserole,
Well,
and it's awesome.
When my bride makes homemade potato salad, it can be warm because it's baked potatoes and that kind of stuff, and so but usually she'll try to get it refrigerated. But I've eaten it warm before. No, not warm because it sat out on the counter for 7 hours, but like
That's
warm.
That's room temperature.
Yeah, that's true.
That's growing bacteria at that point.
Exactly. No, this is. But yeah, to me that's a cold. I mean, there's a reason. It probably has mayonnaise and some kind of a. What do you think? Is there some dairy in there? Maybe some cream or something? But yeah, the kind of stuff that doesn't need to sit out and just.
The ones I've had have mostly been mustard. The ones that I've had are basically the interior of a deviled eggs, and they slather it on, minus like the yolk, and they slather that whatever that sauce is on a chopped up potatoes.
That sounds
a little bit of onion, a little bit of
relish. A lot of
relish.
things I like. Yeah, I do like the thought of the because that can then graduate to the. You can get into some more cheese application, and then the bacon bits that the texture refers to, and then you get into kind of the baked potato salad.
Tell me more about this cheese application.
Exactly.
You have my attention.
Delightful, isn't it?
Send me a list of all the things that have the cheese application, because I am in. We had a Morton thought earlier I wanted to get back to.
Okay.
We were asked, if Morton is healthy for Saturday, is it worth sitting him and letting him get to as close to 100%? I think you're having, whether they want to or not, like if it's questionable, like even at the baseline, if Sam Levitt can go, they're forced to play Sam Levitt. Because I just, frankly, I do not think they have a shot at all with Jeff Sims. I don't like their chances with Levitt either, because I think your defense is that good. Especially if it's a Sam Levitt that's hindered in any way and can go, but maybe doesn't have the full athletic ability due to that ankle, or foot, whatever it is. Even if he's 100%, I'm going to take your defense over their offense because it just has not been explosive.
That's.
But they're in a boat. They need to do that, right?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
if he can in any way, they have to. You're not, and this is where the trust of Will Hammond is a great thing to have, and it's a great thing to have depth everywhere, but especially at the quarterback spot.
Yep.
And so, if it's something that's obviously if it has a chance of being easily re-aggravated in that game, I don't think that they would pull that trigger. I think they would only go as he may not be 100%, but he's really close, and we're not worried about this affecting the rest of the season. Like if something happens and he gets hurt, it's not because we pushed him too fast. I just don't think that they would do that, because I do think they're thinking about the future, and I also think, we're not lying when we say we trust Will Hammond.
Sure. Yeah, I think they do whatever they have to do to win the game, though. Above all else, there's been nothing about, and I don't think it's coach speak when they talk about we're all in on this year. You see guys like Chapman Lewis returning to what appears to be an active roster. Could we save him for a red shirt? That kind of thing. Hey, if we need him to win a game, and he's going to be in there, we're not like, well, we really need him next year. Like this thing is set up to be really good to begin with, and then at 6-0, it's got a chance to be really special. And I just don't think that any level of saving anyone will happen. But I like I said, the thought of Hammond being over there, starting, and Morton being over there as a backup, and then if Hammond's struggling or something, the backup then to Hammond isn't the third string quarterback, it's a slightly injured Behren Morton that goes out there taped up and whatever, all that he's dealing with, and saves the day. we've all seen the old starting quarterback hobble out there injured and save the day. I was talking to you about the '85 Bears, Jim McMahon, in Minnesota, taking down the Vikings.
This on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Not excited about a 10 p.m. start on a Tuesday night.
Oh, on our road schedule?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's going to be cost of doing business. I understand. I'm right there with you, but that's just the cost of doing business in this day and age. Yeah, it just is. You know what I mean? I'm not diminishing it. I'm sitting here saying that to you, Texter. I don't have Peacock. All right, so I'll go to the home game. Actually, I haven't overlaid that with the baseball schedule, but that's this little afternoon's little project here. But but we have a road game on Peacock. I may just enjoy that one on 97.3.
Perfect. It'll be here for you.
Go over to Clint's house. I don't know.
You can, yeah.
True.
We have a very inviting home. You have to deal with animals. You're going to have to hold a 140-pound Pyrenees. There's nothing I can do about it.
I thought you said 147-pound beer. Yeah.
That's a keg.
Nice.
No, that's what I was. Yeah, I said I had one beer. You had a keg. Yeah.
Just one.
I said one.
Just one.
I did not talk about the volume of it. It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3.
It's every Red Raiders' favorite podcast. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3. Presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Dude, I just heard this like 2 days ago. I can't remember if it was on Facebook, Instagram, somewhere across social media.
AI is crazy. Like, the fact that they could just make full songs out of this is pretty wild.
Yeah. It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3. That is DJ Puddin, Kyler Brown checking in. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson. Keep hitting us up on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We will send it back to Kyler in just a moment for a play of the day. Just real quick, we got this question. What game is at 10 p.m.? That is your Tuesday road game, February 17th at Arizona State. So it lines up with, you know, the road trip you would expect it to. So if anyone wants to put on their basketball jammies and
We had a late one.
set up the
last
late
year.
night. Well, wasn't the Utah game?
I was going to say it was one of the Utah. It was one of
thought
the
Utah
games
was
in
late.
Utah. I don't remember if it was Utah. But yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Like a Thursday night.
You know, well, and you've got you got
may be wrong
this
about
one's a little bit better, but you have a Saturday 9:30 one at BYU too. That is the last game of the regular season.
That place will be a blast furnace, unless something happens that, which I would consider to be a big surprise, that either of those teams aren't right in the thick of it.
That, like, legitimately, I think
Blast
could be,
furnace.
if not only, you know, could be in for who maybe has a share of the Big 12, but
that'd be great.
really, I'm looking at it going
Playing for
that
some
that
seeding.
could be if there's a tournament seeding where they're like, well, one of these teams is going to be a 2 seed and the other one's going to be a 3 seed, you know, something like that. That could be a game for
Yeah, I would imagine
big
that,
seeding.
Yeah, that I would imagine it will have some implications there, but at the same time, I would imagine the hay will be in the barn at that point too. It's
All right, if Tech
Nobody's
wins
gonna-
this game, JT Toppin goes number 1 overall.
Exactly.
If it's BYU,
that's the sort of hyperbole I was looking for right there. Thank you.
you're welcome. Kyler, time for a play of the day.
Dickey gets the handoff in the backfield, delays, finds a hole, big one, 45, 40, 35, 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown Red Raiders! Cameron Dickey with his second long touchdown run. First down and 10 from there, and it's going to be the same thing. He fakes the handoff, takes it left, and Hammond goes to the end zone. Touchdown Red Raiders!
The Red Raiders ran all over the Kansas Jayhawks on Saturday as they were victorious 42-17, and as a team had 372 rushing yards. Cam Dickey had 2 very long touchdowns and had 263 yards on the ground. Go Red Raiders.
Beautiful. Yeah, that was a different kind of domination there.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Kyler, we talked about it on Monday. If you'd have told us that we were going to have 360 yards on one side of the ledger and 130 or whatever the number was on the other side, I think we would have gone, well, yeah, 360 passing, 130 rushing. It's like it's what we've done around here for
years.
Yes, decades. And that flip of the deal was a different kind of narrative.
I was giving Jamie a little bit of grief because on Optimum Game Day Live, Chuck asked him, were you on the board for this?
I was on the board for this. I remember hearing this. And Jamie was like, oh, of course, we're going to have more passing than rushing. And it's us.
I can't remember, like, basically asked him if he thought you could have more rushing yards just because of how bad their defense had been, specifically with rush defense. And I think, Chuck wasn't trying to, like, go off the wall with a take or anything. He's just asking the question. And I think Jamie answered it with exactly what was in my head. Is like, I think you're going to have a big rushing day, but their pass defense isn't great either. And I think you could have a really big day with your receivers and just have a big offensive day, because it's kind of what's been happening with their defense. And then lo and behold, exactly what Chuck asked.
Yeah. Well, and I think that narrative right there would be great this weekend. I'm really curious about how this game will go. I mean, that's why we're excited and talking about it all week. But if they truly have 2 safeties down, and the thing they haven't done well, and if they're getting
injured with, like, linebackers on top of it now,
the thing they haven't done well is really defend the pass in general. I mean, they're down in the rankings in terms of pass defense. So, and then you throw in a couple more injuries on top of that.
And I think that their rush defense is a little misleading. I might have said this yesterday, but it's a little misleading if you're just looking at, because I think they're 3rd or 4th in the Big 12 standings, and you go, okay, well, that's pretty good. And they were solid last year, right? I think the best part of their defense is they have a pretty salty pass rush because they have a handful of guys that can do it. But you might go, well, no, obviously statistically it's the run defense, but that gets skewed, especially in conference stats, because I need to go back and look how much TCU rushed for, because it was not a lot. And it's like, okay, well, that's going to throw those numbers off and make them look like a fantastic run defense, right? Because TCU didn't even try to run the ball. That's not what they're doing. And I think the Frogs are going to do that a little bit. But then you look at, like, last week, and yes, Utah has one of the best offensive lines in the conference, but you might as well not have had defenders out there. I mean, as bad as you made Kansas look, they made Arizona State look the same way.
Yeah.
And they were just moving them.
Yeah.
Wherever they wanted to go.
And they couldn't / didn't do that with us.
Mm-hmm.
And it really, it's one of those games that, and who knows, if everything goes right, we're in Arlington, and who knows, we might be playing that Utah team again. And they might come in there with a little bit of you-know-what and vinegar to prove that they're better than the version they put out there. And we'll find out a lot about that Utah club. Obviously, they ran through ASU like poo through a tin horn the other day, but they've got a monster game. And you know what? One of the good things about the new Big 12, this game has been played forever, and they hate each other. BYU and Utah.
Yeah. This
is now a conference game. Like, if you could have somehow turned up the volume on this game, it's done. And that's great. I mean, from my purview out here, just wanting good sports, and they hated each other anyway. And now somebody gets to hand someone a conference loss.
Do you want to guess how many rushing yards TCU had against Arizona State? Now that I have it up in front of me,
10 or something like that.
10 yards.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
And part of it is because
there's some sacks in there,
right?
Yeah.
But Josh Hoover lost 38 yards because of 9 sacks.
Still, That doesn't mean
they
rushed
ran
for
the ball
211 and lost 170.
They ran the ball 16 times.
Yeah.
16 natural rushes in that game.
Oof, got stuffed.
And again, TCU, they don't have any. This is going to turn into me pointing out why I think TCU was doomed to not be a favorite in the first place. They are the ultimate one-dimensional team,
right.
And it's live and die with Josh Hoover. And if he makes any sort of mistakes, that offense is screwed.
And he's pretty good.
Yeah, I think he's good.
But that's that sort of one-dimensionality is. I mean, it's very air raid-ish. But I don't know how many days Mike Leach's offense here had 10 yards rushing. I mean, maybe in a day where it got handed to him by those really good Sooner teams, up in Norman or a couple of the Texas games. I'm sure we could probably dig around and find something. But, man, yeah, like you said, that's not even trying to run it.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's what I think that if you're just going off of them stat-wise, that's been a little bit skewed in the rushing department, meaning I think you're going to be able to run on Saturday. More Tech Talk next.
The podcast put together with Red Raider fans in mind. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
It is Tech Talk on Double T 97.3, DoubleTSportsNetwork.com, and the Double T 97.3 mobile app. One more with us as we go all the way up to 6 o'clock. First United Bank Studio. That is where we're at. Randy Rosetta will be here in an hour for the High School Fan Zone. Lubbock High, Friendship, and Lubbock Cooper on deck tonight. You can also call us on the Visual Edge IT hotline, 806-771-0973. If you would like to watch us, you can do so on Fox 34 News Now and on YouTube. We are there every single weekday. We had a question on the Yates Flooring Center chat line about the Arizona State running backs. I am trying to find it. I have lost it on the chat line. It looks like, here we go. It looks like Tech is only favored by a touchdown now. I just read that Arizona State's running back is out for this game. It isn't the starting running back though. So today, Tyson Brown is out, and it was like for the foreseeable future. But then another guy, Kanye Udo, he was the Army transfer, was out of practice today with sickness. So I mean, it would seem like he would be playing. But Raleek Brown is their starter. And you know what's interesting about him? By the way, you can go read a full breakdown of Arizona State's pros and cons on DoubleTSportsNetwork.com right now. But, in some ways, Raleek Brown has kind of come out of nowhere for them. But part of that is, he was a returning player. We never got to see him last year because he dealt with a hamstring injury pretty much out of the gate, and then eventually had to take a medical red shirt by like mid-October. And so Arizona State didn't even really get to look at what they had with him. And I believe he came from USC. I believe he was a USC transfer
and I think
before that. But so he has come out of nowhere, but at the same time, I wonder if this is what they were hoping they would get out of him alongside Scattaboo last season.
I think his origin goes back to him being a receiver earlier in his career. And so the pass catching part of his game is for real, which just speaks to Leavitt having another option.
Because he had his
make creative ways to get him involved, and we've seen the Red Raiders do that, by the way. Get running backs involved in far more than just dumping checkdowns to them.
His first year in 2022 with the Trojans, he had 42 carries, so he got some looks there. And then I'm not sure if 2023 was an injury or what, but he only had 3 carries and then 3 receptions. But, to what you're pointing out, when you look at – let me get you some numbers here. So we were talking yesterday about how, like, Jordyn Tyson is – he is the receiving core. Like, when you're just looking at the receivers, just as a team, Jordyn Tyson is responsible for 40% of their receptions, 45% of their receiving yards, 47% of their total touchdowns, and 88% of their receiving touchdowns. And that one's really easy because they've had 8 receiving touchdowns and he's had 7 of them.
Yeah.
Like the next closest is their tight end, Shimon Mateer, who has 17 catches, 160, and then he has the other touchdown. And then it's Raleek Brown next. And so there's not even a receiver close to Tyson, but that's also kind of a nod to Raleek Brown because they found a way to use him in a bunch of different ways, and he's had a really good year rushing. But it's just hard. One, it's not going to help if they're, one depth piece is out for Kyson Brown, and then whatever Kanye Udo ends up being this week. If it's already going to be hard enough to establish any sort of running game against Texas Tech's defensive front, it's going to be even harder if you are the only guy that can do it.
Yeah.
And then you look at okay, if Levitt's going, is he good enough to even be a part of the run game? Because clearly that's something he's good at as well. Sure. But there's just so much up in the air for Arizona State. I would not want to be in their shoes as a fan worrying about this all week.
Yeah, so much of that offense runs through Tyson, and I don't remember the metrics on Tetaroa McMillan last year when we went out to Tucson, but you're dealing with the same thing. The guy it's the second year in a row we will have played against the guy who's going to be the first receiver taken in the draft, I guess barring some sort of catastrophic injury, but premium player. He, it sure feels like some coverage can be rotated his direction or something because they're going to force the ball to him. Now maybe they force the ball to him in the form of screens and stuff like that if they can't get it downfield. But he's a different breed of cat. It would seem like to me, to be able to rotate some coverage and say, you know what, that guy's not beating us. Some of these dudes over here might, know. But I would say this too. We talked about going into the Utah game. That valuable opportunities for our DNs. Working against those good tackles like draft day. Here's going to be the footage on
here's
their tackles blocking David Bailey and height and just all of that kind of stuff because it's a premium matchup. This may be the time for Pollock to shine, right? Right, dude. You got Tyson, and we're going to be sitting there on draft day going, man, remember the day he had, who knows? Hopefully it's not remember the day Tyson went 12 for 185 and 4 touchdowns against Pollock, but rather the other way around, that I feel like he'll get his ball, get his catches, but it may be, hopefully it's like 6 for 66 or something like that.
And he said, that's what Utah
Controlled
did,
damage,
right?
Yeah.
It was some more underneath stuff, and it's like you're going to get some catches here, but you're not going to have that 150-yard day and you go off and you have 2 or 3 scores. You're not going to do. We're not going to do what TCU's defense did,
right?
Where I don't know what the scheme was, but it looked like on the field that in the locker room on the board it was like, hey, forget this guy. He's not that good. I mean, how do you? He's the ultimate. He's the best version in the Big 12 of all the guys. How do you lose that guy in coverage? Like, how do you not know where he is?
Yeah,
and so I would expect. I think you're going to throw everything at him to take him out of the game, and then trust that your front is going to do what it's done all year long and not let Raleek Brown take over the game either. And you're going to say, in a lot of ways, like you did to Kansas this week, Sam Levitt, you're going to have a special day if you're going to make a dent offensively.
Yeah, and hopefully we're getting after him in a way that he's having to move around and be not that we know he can do that. That's something he's very good at, but still that he's not comfortable in the pocket. And we've been really good at speeding quarterbacks up and speeding plays up and getting them off platform, however you want to say that, or just whatever, or just downright getting sacks. But I think that's a key part of all this, especially against a player as good as Levitt.
It's Tech Talk on Double T 97.3, the Juice Round 2 when we come back.
The podcast that finishes your workday in a very Red Raider way. This is the Tech Talk Podcast from Double T 97.3, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction.
Ask Tech Talk will be in 15 minutes from now. Give us your questions for that on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. It is Tech Talk here on Double T 97.3. Happy Wednesday to you. Clint Scott, Dr. Mike Gustafson, Kyla Brown behind the glass. A reminder, we will be out and about at Mercedes-Benz of Lubbock tomorrow. Come by, say hi. A little birdie told me, it was Jamie, that we'll have some tickets to give away for Texas Tech versus Oklahoma State. So make sure to come by for that. Also, we always have the swag bag out there. Last week, Gus, or the last time we were out there, excuse me, you missed it. We had some Mercedes-Benz sunglasses that I actually have a pair in my car. That's
right, I was in Virginia. So you stole them from the place?
No,
they
let me
off some
have
guy's
some.
desk or what?
Yeah,
That's good. That's nice.
Yeah, they didn't actually give us any prizes. I'm just walking around there and finding things to give. I'll give away a car tomorrow.
Asking for test drives and stuff. Nice. Oh boy.
Eric on Wheels had this. I read some Arizona State write-up that said Texas Tech had a 77% chance of winning. Final score of 33-19, very similar to last year.
I would like that. That'd be just fine by me.
Yeah, the ESPN matchup predictor now that I assume has moved like 2 points with also the odds moving just, originally it was a 10.5 point line. Now it's a 7.5. I don't know if it ever got bigger or anything like that and came down to 7.5. Either way, that's where it's at right now, and certainly has to do with the Leavitt looking like he's more of a go. I guess we came into this week when that 10-point spread came out, both starting quarterbacks were in question. Mm-hmm. They have clarity on theirs. Mm-hmm. Hence that point, that line moving a couple points. And it looks like it's almost just them getting a couple more points because the over-under moved up 2 points. Oh, okay. All right. So it went from 49.5 to 51.5 there for the over-under too. I'm interested to see how close of a best version of Arizona State you'll get, and I just don't think, at least from the start of the season, that's possible. Not that they can't play well, but like the absolute best version, I just think is an impossibility. Because we had someone ask us yesterday, like, hey, are you at a disadvantage with your injuries? And it's like, no, they are. They're dealing with, right. I think they're dealing with the worst injuries in the conference, at least from the top-end teams that are contenders. And so I don't know if it's even possible to see, like, the best version of them, but just how good of a version of Arizona State can you see on Saturday? I don't know what you could have that version and still win that game, and I think you. I think the way that you're rolling right now in Arizona State's lack of explosiveness, their best shot is to have slow, and I think that this would be the case for almost anybody you saw in the league to have a shot against you. Slow possessions. You can't just have a bunch of 3-and-outs. And then you have to hope that you have a little bit of what you saw against Houston and see more 3s than 7s. And the big thing is defensively, then you can't give up big plays to Tech's offense on the other side. It's just like easier said than done there too. But I will say Arizona State has shown the ability to do that. And really, you look at how they won games last year and how they've won games this year. I mean, they're not winning track meets, Gus. No. Yeah, and I don't. For all the attributes, I guess we want to put on Malik Brown and Tyson and those dudes. And of course, Tyson was part of this team last year, although he was not part of their postseason run. Mm-hmm. He had been injured at that point, but I don't know that anyone's giving them Scattaboo level swagger. Yeah. Because he really did. He brought some confidence and some swag to that, just some swagger and some toughness and all the things that he brings. He's doing it as a rookie for the Giants. Maybe not at the exact same level, but he's I think he did some special things for that football program last year, and I don't know that they're getting that. Now,
6 games in, nothing. It's not too late to change the narrative. But
When I think to like that part of it, Levitt brings some of it, but it's hard to bring what
Right.
Scadaboo did on the table with that.
Pretty special.
But again, if Levitt's, if he's just your emotional guy and just good enough to kind of be a passer, I have no idea what he's going to look like to start.
Yeah, I'm with you, man, and that's the biggest one. If you told me of all the offensive lineman, linebacker, safety, whatever, all that's out, and quarterback, if you told me they could get one guy back, it's absolutely Levitt.
Yeah,
So
sure.
I would assume. I mean, I would assume that the Levitt situation, health situation last week had a lot to do with them. I don't know, maybe the lack of confidence they played with.
But also,
last
when the
weekend,
last time Jeff Sims, who's been at 3 different schools now, the last time he won a start?
Wasn't it Georgia Tech?
It was at Georgia Tech, 2022.
COVID.
And he's had some chances. Yeah. Well, yeah, not all the way back to COVID,
No,
but still.
I didn't know the answer.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to run him down by any means, but I mean, it's weird. There's a veteran quarterback who has played a ton of football, but just has not played very much winning football at all. And then especially part of that, like Georgia Tech, when he was there, that was who was around him. And then in Nebraska, he never saw the field. I think he was in one game for 3 or 4 attempts. That's already escaped my mind when I was looking this stuff up. But if you remember, he had a start last year for Arizona State. You remember which one that was?
I do not.
It wasn't a win. It was the only other regular season loss. It was when they lost to Cincinnati. It was like 24-14. And so that's where, for them, that's getting him back. I don't think getting Behren Morton back is a necessity for you by any means. It is absolutely a necessity for Arizona State to make sure that Levitt can go at the best health percentage that he can go.
And I'm really interested to see what their front will do against our offensive line, because they're the second leading team in sacks in the conference, and they feels like they could stop the run, although some of those numbers are a little wonky. And they're coming off a day in which they, in some ways, got humiliated at doing something they feel like they should do pretty well.
Ask Tech Talk is coming up next. You got us on Double T 97.3.
This has been the Tech Talk Podcast, presented by Cantex Roofing and Construction. Check out our library of Double T 97.3 podcasts at doublet97.3.com.